Good afternoon, I hope you're doing well, and if it's not afternoon when you're watching this, it is now. It's been a minute since Jade Light came out, and I would have had this out sooner, but work's been the equivalent of throwing myself into a black hole recently and getting spaghettified. And I also got an AK. Anyway, we've got some new arcanes that are pretty spicy. Secondary Fortify is self-explanatory, an Arcane Ice Storm auto-installed itself on Frost and any frame with Thermal Sunder on as soon as I got it. Merely Afflictions does this. But I'm going to be focusing on Secondary Surge and Arcane Battery, since they seem like they were designed to be used together. So this works by combining it with Arcane Ultimatum. At max rank, it can give you 1200 armor, and if I can get this out while the event is still going, it's super easy to max out right now, and if I've managed to miss it, make sure to edit this bit out. With Arcane Battery, this gives you an additional 360 energy. This gives every rank 30 Warframe in the game the ability to hit 500 maximum energy for 45 seconds without any mods, which activates the double melee critical damage buff from purple Archon shards. And since Arcane Ultimatum can be procced by Ash's Blade Storm, this is a fantastic armor-based version of the build that I showed up in the Ash video instead of relying on Arcane Trickery. Now that we have all this energy though, we can take advantage of Secondary Surge. Going off the lowest rank 30 amount of energy in the game outside of frames that don't have energy at all, with the Ultimatum Battery we can get 510 energy. So when our energy bar is full, casting 425 or 50 energy abilities will bring Secondary Surge up to an 8 times multiplier. This is just a neat little combination I thought you guys would like to see. It's not the most wide use case scenario bit of tech, but it's pretty fun. But since the buff for Secondary Surge only applies for one shot, it falls apart in a lot of scenarios. Using it for the purple Archon shards buff is a far more universal setup that you can take advantage of on a melee frame. But that begs the question, why did I focus on Secondary Surge in the title if this setup is better for purple Archon shards? And that's one very simple answer. Have you seen the weird shit that happens with the Grimoire when you use Navigator on it? So most projectiles in Warframe die when they hit an object they can't penetrate. The Grimoire's ult fire is unique in that it throws a rubber car battery that contains limited elastic potential. Because of this, if you can maintain a source of energy, this car battery contains infinite power and also causes multiple auto-industry assassins to slip gate into my postcode. If you have 3 Talforge Blue Archon shards, Prime Flow, and the Ultimatum Battery, you can max out Secondary Surge in a single cast. This will also give you enough armor with Ivara to have an 86% damage reduction. You can then buff out its damage further with Ivara's augments. Piercing Navigator will work on it if you can crash the orb directly into an enemy, and Empowered Quiver's critical damage could be nice if you decide to lean into a crit build. But honestly, as far as the Grimoire itself goes, you can mod it however you like. My only recommendations are that you mod for multi-shot since you get additional chains from the orb, and to use Energizing Shot. The ult fire can't pick up energy orbs, but the primary fire can, and it works while you're in Navigator, so you can easily just hide up on a dash wire and collect energy. Speaking of Navigator though, most projectiles controlled by Navigator can only hit a target once. But it's not the projectile itself that does damage with the Grimoire, it's the chains that come off that can strike an enemy multiple times, which is why I want to mod for multi-shot so we get more of them. Combine this with the slow movement speed and the 8 times damage buff from Secondary Surge, and can create an area I affectionately refer to as non-OSHA compliant. The way Navigator interacts with Secondary Surge is also strange. Secondary Surge's buff is only stockpiled when the energy is consumed, and since Navigator is first primed, then activated when a projectile is fired, Secondary Surge will be consumed by you firing the shot, then immediately regained by Navigator taking effect and consuming your energy. Meaning you can spam this as long as you have the resources and you'll get the buff every time. Now for Helminth, the Dispenser is a good option to replace Prowl since it means you can just generate your own energy on the zip wire, and it worked great in combination with Energizing Shot and a few yellow Archon shards. But if you have another method of generating energy such as a Sahasa Kubro or a Trinity, you might want to use a damage buff instead. Now I know you've got another question. This setup doesn't require Ultimatum Battery. Surely you're just overcomplicating things when you could just cast your ability twice and get the same result. So anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.